All right, hello. What's going on, Race Brain Podcast? My name is Rich Ryan, joined by Bracken Crocker, and now not quite that young Jack Bauer, the baby of the group's growing up.
I'm in your age group, guys. I'm in that
Dang.
35 to 39-year-old age group, and it's
That's
kind of
true.
scary.
Oh
Welcome.
man.
What were your thoughts when you guys entered that age group? Because you're not quite 40, but you're still sort of young, but not as young as you used to be. I'm sure that's kind of like a weird number for me.
I wish I was 35, Jack.
Okay,
Cherish this.
cherish.
I don't think I noticed changing age groups because when I was 35, I don't think there was a sport I was doing that age groups mattered.
They don't have age groups in
Sitting on the bench.
3-on-3 hoops?
I don't think so.
No.
And like High Rocks wasn't as big yet. Like
Yeah,
age group didn't matter that much. But as soon as I turned 37, it's like 40's looming.
It's not great.
yeah.
No, it's not
And
great.
Rich, you're
I'm
a
not
year
gonna
ahead
get
of
better.
I am 38, so I basically consider myself 40. One of my buddies the other day said, "Oh, you're doing great things at 40." I'm like, "Who's 40?"
Smack.
Not me.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you mean? So congratulations, Jack.
You have a good
Appreciate
birthday?
it. Yeah, I saw a couple of my old college roommates, went down to Massachusetts, got stuck in traffic, the whole experience, but it was good hanging out with the guys.
Dude, I went to that thing they got in Salem, that like kind of outdoor.
Yeah.
Was that where you're at?
No, I've been there before. I have a friend who lives
Pretty,
in Salem also. It's pretty cool.
it's popping off.
Yeah, the little whatever village, I forget the name of it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
My brother-in-law is like, yeah, like BK Salem's right up north of the border of Mass.
Exo one.
He was like, you see these Massachusetts license plates here, and you know it's going to be a problem. Like, you basically live in Massachusetts, but mass holes are real. That's a real thing, Jack.
Coming from a Philly guy?
Yeah, I know it. I know an
Yeah.
asshole when I see it.
Real recognize real, Jack.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
absolutely.
they're talking with a silly accent, I know they are
Oh,
mass
it's silly.
holes.
Yeah.
So we got a couple things to cover today outside of Jack's birthday. We have, summer, not the official end, but the
Summer. That's our topic.
summer. We're going to talk about this, what happened back.
Horrible.
I was thinking, I was trying to brainstorm some stuff. I was like, well, football's starting, summer's ending, but we actually have things to talk about. We are going to talk about Spartan Race European Championships at Jack. Where is it?
In Austria.
Austria. It's kind of like the Alps, so it would be Western Austria.
Yeah. I
Come
know
on,
my
bro.
I know my Austrian geography real good.
Come on, bro.
Zell am Siegerbrunn. That's the location. So if you know where that is on a map, you got it.
Sounds like a football club
Kind of does.
or a motorcycle club.
But it be in the Alps, we're guessing, right? Because it's mountainous.
It's a mountain course from just looking at old times. It's a slower course, yeah.
The Alps are in Western Austria, Jack. Come on.
Damn, Rich dropping facts.
Like Germany's here, Switzerland's here,
I
Austria's
I
here.
know the order. Yeah, we have a blank map. I can point it out.
You don't know.
Okay. Are you a geography guy too?
I'm a geography guy.
On top of everything else?
Yeah.
Nah,
You
everything.
rarely hear a flex. If I had a blank map, I could point it out. But you said it with confidence at 35.
no
I,
way.
I know. I've been studying maps for 35 years, guys. Yeah.
Guy,
Well, that's another weird flex, but I like it.
Yeah.
he gets an atlas for his birthday every year. Just a open
I
book
actually
of
one of my
maps.
So all right, just quick tangent. One of my favorite Christmas gifts that I ever got was you're gonna laugh. It was called a Leapfrog Explorer, and it was this map, and it had like a pen on it. This was probably back in like 1997 or something. And you click on it, and it has like all these interactive quizzes and stuff on capitals, biggest cities, and where countries are, and that's how I learned a lot of stuff. So
And look at this. You convinced someone to say yes to you. An engagement.
it's amazing. I know.
You did
World
it.
traveler.
Nice
Yeah.
job, dude.
The number of
I know,
people
I
that
know.
had Leapfrog Explorers and then also partnered up someday is very low.
It's not a strong
You're
correlation.
colorblind, red-haired, and you
One of a
defied
kind.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I know. It's impressive.
So we have this European Spartan Race Championships. What number Spartan Championship is this year? This is the first one?
Ultra Morzine.
Mm-hmm. This is
And
the
then they're going to
second-
have Croatia in October. And then the
Which is
final
short course, correct?
100-meter and sprint. They have separate ones. They're giving more money to the 100, stupidly. Which I don't know if you saw Did you see that Jesse Graff is going to be there?
Yeah, is
Wow,
that
really?
news? Like in terms of competition or just eyes?
Probably just eyes. But
Yeah.
I watched a minute of her video, less than that. But when she started her video, it was like some 20-minute long video, and she's like, "Oh, I've got some exciting news. I'm gonna be traveling to Croatia for the what's it called?" And then she looks on a separate monitor. It's like she has no interest, and they're
Yeah.
giving money to an event like that. Like it's just name recognition. I didn't like that. Didn't even have the respect to learn the name of the event.
She's been doing that for years, though,
Yeah, and
right?
I
But it's
think it's a
just
slippery slope to say doesn't have the respect to learn the name because
or the event. She didn't know that it
don't
was a
know FISO
100-meter
FISO.
race. Yeah.
That's true. You
But
say
I also
Yeah.
don't respect it
I say
to be
FISO.
true and like to be very above board. But
Factual.
we get a lot of names wrong. But I agree
Correct.
with the sentiment that
We
this isn't
try.
news for the sport.
Yeah.
She's seems like a really nice person, but
Yeah.
Great athlete.
great athlete.
Definitely. Probably will do well. Yeah.
I don't know.
So this is going to be the beast distance.
The Spartan European Championship this weekend. Yes.
Yes. And we actually have a pretty good lineup of names here.
Can I
that
ask
we
a
can
question
kinda
first
go
before we
through.
actually get to Beast? It's about Croatia.
Yeah.
Now, Sprint was always a weird title for Spartan Race, Sprint Super Beast.
Mhm.
Like
5K sprint. That doesn't make sense.
the Sprint
Yeah.
Super doesn't make really any sense. The Beast at least sounded cool. But is it now doubly confusing now that there is a 100-meter dash?
There is a sprint.
Now there's the 100-meter and the sprint. And like explain that to an outsider. You doing the 100-meter? No, I'm doing the sprint. Well, how far is that? Like 5 kilometers plus or minus. Guy.
Yeah. You
No,
can't sprint for a 5K.
Is it finally time? Because I don't think anyone's like married to Spartan terms. Is it finally time to rebrand their distances? Just the Spartan 5K, 10K, and half marathon?
Did they start to do that when they started to standardize the distances themselves, or they were still
Well,
sticking with the names, right?
They
They're
were like a sprint is a 5K, but
Yeah.
instead of just being like, here's the Spartan 5K, they called it the Spartan 3K. So they specified that one particular race to have a
Yeah.
specific distance, but that's the only one that I'm aware of.
I mean, if we really are still pretending that this is Olympic and we're standardizing because of that, you can't have a 5K sprint and a 100-meter sprint. It's just probably time to clarify some of our.
What would you call
we're
it?
a running race that uses the term sprint, which is a running term, incorrectly by like an entire 3 miles wrong.
What would we call the 5K distance?
I'd be happy with that.
Would Spartan short course like?
Yeah, it's got to be something Spartan.
Yeah. S
Mm.
like
No. Like Super Beast.
I was gonna say stadium, but that's taken.
yeah, that was a good one.
Stadium is available.
Yeah.
Okay. If they go FISO, it'll be in a stadium.
A
Likely
little bit.
or an
Plus
hour away.
minus. Could be plus
Yeah.
minus in a stadium.
I don't know. We don't need to dwell on it too long, but it just as Jack
It's
said
a valid
it,
point. Yeah.
Drop
guy
your
says,
comment.
"Is it the short course?" And you said no, it's the 100-meter and the sprint. I thought, oh, that sounds bad.
Drop your comments in. If you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify, you can put comments in as well. What should Spartan call the 5K distance that is more Spartan-y than 5K distance?
We know Glenn Race is going to chime in with something witty.
It'll be
Usually
good.
And more
does.
accurate than sprint.
Something that reflects the race distance. It takes 30 minutes, right? What's the
Yeah.
fastest sprint? Like 22? No. 25?
We've had a 20-minute
Botchers
sprint.
just did like a 25. But there have been times when like Ocala and Ryland were 20 low. There've been a couple in Australia that were sub 20. I know Chris Woolley did that. So that's about the fastest you're ever going to
Sub-20.
see it. Yeah, it was a city sprint, so it was like on pavement.
That
Yeah.
would be my jam.
That is riches. You missed the Ocean City one in Maryland a couple years ago.
I know. It was my guy Mark Falcone took that one.
Yeah, Magita got that work.
Busted Makita's ass.
Yep.
That was when I think we talked about this before, but the Urban Athlon. That was the
Mhm.
first thing I saw
Oh, Bracken
of
knows about
OCR. That's BK.
I've never done one.
Was that that wasn't how
Oh,
you got into
Men's
men's
Health?
fitness?
That was the Ultimate Athlete Games.
My bad, bro.
Okay.
Men's
Yeah.
Health was the Urban Athlon.
Come on.
What's the coolest non-tradition, like a one-off type of event that you've ever done? Solar race. Because
Spartan
that
Cruise.
sounds like yours, Bracken. Yeah.
Was that cool?
Super cool.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got featured in Men's Health.
You want to make fun of Spartan, and the cruise they took a bath on, but it didn't change the fact that every single person who was part of it thought it was awesome, except for the journalist who came on it and tried to interview people for it and thought that we were just a joke of a sport, which we can be both. We can have a great time and be a joke of a sport.
Yeah, the sniff test. You seem to have a good nose for something like that. It seems like.
Yeah.
Does TMX count?
Yeah.
Oh, that's high up there. Yeah. That was
That
really
was cool.
cool.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I did when I was in grad school, Kyle Field, which is Texas A&M Stadium, they had a stadium run. And this is 2011 or 12. It's called like Run the Ramp or something like that. But they had a stadium race way before Spartan did anything like that. And I'm like, in hindsight, that was actually really cool.
Notre Dame does that as well. I think a bunch of college campuses do stair and stadium races, which is,
yeah,
people seem to love it.
I was a fan. And I have a picture from back in the day, and there's a guy on the start line with a big gulp cup standing there, like seconds from taking off. And I'm like, this is what people did. Hilarious.
It's probably half vodka.
Well, see you later.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see him later on. Yeah.
Big gulps, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at this start list for Austria. This is courtesy of Jack Bauer here. So, what are some of the names that stand out? Let's start on the women's end. We have the number 1 ranked athlete in Race Brain Power Rankings.
Top 11. Yep.
Ever?
Power 11.
Are we talking Susanna?
She's on. Well, let her finish this point.
It's Elriki, right?
Yeah.
Talking about. But we also have Zuzana Kokomova, who is in the top. I think she's on the Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely. She has to be.
She's on the current Mount Rushmore. But so the old and the new, Esther Hortabagiova. This is going to be a good battle. This is going to be things that we haven't seen some of these athletes in Spartan race, because the races that we've seen recently have been like FISO and European Championships, some of these more techie kind of obstacle races. Now we're going to see the output, the BK you like. Thank you, dude.
It's reading. This is like the 4th thumbs up from this power stance I have here. It just keeps reading. My thumb is up.
You got the stand-up desk looks good on you, bro.
You got to cover the armpits.
Different
We know
swag.
you're sweating anyway. Yeah.
Different swag.
It's doing it again. This is crazy.
Jack, who do you see on this women's end that you're excited about? And tell us a little bit about some of the stories that we're going to be looking at.
Yeah, so Ulrike has been on a roll recently. We've seen what she's done. She's proven it on mountain courses at Morzine. We know that that's one of the toughest mountain courses out there. She can run on any type of terrain. And Zuzana has won 2 Spartan Race World Championships. Esther, she won the Beast World Championship last year in Abu Dhabi, whether you call it that or not. But we know she's one of the best of all time, realistically. She's closing in on 100 career Spartan elite podiums. So she'll get that pretty soon. And all that we've seen this year from Esther, she's won a national series race in Czech Republic, France, Slovakia, and Switzerland for national series races. So this could be her 4th or her 5th country in which she's won a major race in Europe this season. So I think that those top 3 are going to be very interesting. But there's one name who's not European who's on this list. Can you see that?
Yes. Lisa Musacchio.
Musacchio? Yeah.
I found that to be really interesting. That's something that I did want to talk about in terms of the way that this sport is kind of changing over the past 2 or 3 years. But let's talk about that battle up front quickly. I mean, Zuzana, yes, she is Mount Rushmore, one of the greatest of all time, kind of a pioneer here, but that was years ago.
Zuzana at European Championship in, I believe it was last year, she missed her first ever podium in 50-something career Spartan races. And she got 4th place at European Championship. She's like 44 years old, and she has like a 98% chance of ending up on the podium throughout her career. And all she ever did was run highly contested races. So just because she's a little bit older, like, yes, she might be starting to show some cracks. But I still think she's going to be on the podium here.
Yeah, and I don't know if she's showing cracks as much as not dedicated her life to it.
Right. She
casually does well.
Yeah.
How old is she,
don't
Jack?
forget, I believe 44, and she was a former Olympic skier. So she's been a high-level athlete for 20 years, probably at
More.
least. Yeah.
She was a teen in the program when she was a teen.
Okay.
Wow, really?
So we're talking 1990s, and it's 2024, and she's still competing at a high level in a sport she's been dominating for the past decade.
Yeah.
But if we were to do odds here, Jack, what would you say? Would you? Because looking at Esther and Elricky, like, if this was last year, Esther would be a heavy favorite, right? But what Elricky's done recently, it's like, wow. But we haven't seen the two of them necessarily race, and in a Spartan race. Can Elricky beat Esther in this?
For sure she can. But I think that what we've seen from Esther over the past year or two, when she really kind of made a name for herself, especially facing some of the top competition against U.S. and North American athletes, I still think she's got to be the favorite at this moment, despite Ulrich's hot streak.
BK, what are your thoughts?
Well, like, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ, I think. And we move on really quickly in sports, but Esther is still the one over there, and maybe worldwide. She's just been slightly more absent, but Ulrike just passed the Petrova test,
Right?
who was our power ranking #1. Like, this is the only hurdle, and she passed the Nicole Miracle test. So who's left in the sport? It's basically Esther.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she does pass this test, which if you go just by who's hot right now and momentum, she has a very real chance of doing, then it's over. Or we find out that there's parity at the top, that on any given day, Elisa and Ulrike could go back and forth, and Esther, if she's back, is the one. It doesn't matter to me what the outcome is, because both are great for the sport. We either have a new queen, or we have, as the OCR commentators like to say, a three-headed monster, maybe four-headed.
Yeah, and if we're looking back at Esther's performances, she has had 0 races where she didn't end up on the podium dating back to 2021. So since COVID, basically, like, she got 3rd at the European Championship in Verbier, Switzerland in 2021. And then she ended up winning in Andorra last year. And 2022, she ended up winning the European Championship in the UK. So she's got 2 straight wins at European champs. She got 3rd in the 3K in Abu Dhabi last year. She won the beast, regardless of what you call it. I don't see how she can't be the favorite. She's just on such a roll, despite Ulrich's really hot streak.
Jack, it's almost better that you say Esther beat Lindsay in a beast distance. That means more than the Beast World Championship. So just say it like that.
I'll think about
Beast
it.
World Championship.
Yeah.
Not a thing.
I might have been
But beating
naive
Lindsay,
as a 34-year-old. Yeah.
Beating Lindsay is like, means something. World champion,
Yeah.
not a lot.
This is the first time I can confidently say this in a while. The women's field is better than the men's in OCR in this championship.
I don't know. It has it's fairly similar. But
how many people in the women's field could argue that they're the best person in the world, or have been?
2.
I would say 3.
3. I'd say 3, definitely.
Esther,
Zuzana
Ulrike, and
definitely
Zuzana.
was. Ulrike currently is, and Esther could have been.
All right, I guess. I mean,
Beast World champion.
Zuzana won the world championship, what, like 2015, like a decade
15
ago?
and 16.
Yeah. All right.
How many
But
on
if
the
you're
men's
for
side
stretching
can-
it all time,
If we stretch the rules as far as we can, how many men can say that
just
in
one.
this field? One.
Just one.
So I'm not saying this is the best field we've ever seen assembled on the women's side, but it's very rare that we can even have the argument with a straight face that the women's field's deeper than the men's. And it is.
At the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So looking at this, the Esther Elricky, I'm like, okay, well, Ricky just does technical short coursey stuff in FISO, but she also won the mountain ultra, right? So this seems to be a great meeting ground, a beast in a mountain, but Esther's just been lights out in that distance.
How about this? Let's get rid of, or let's go back to like the beginning of July, before the European OCR Championship, before FISO. Was Esther the favorite? Or would you say Esther was probably the best woman on earth who's actively racing?
Before FISO?
Yeah, before FISO, before the OCR European Championships.
I think the last time we saw her at a championship.
Well, Alyssa.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we were saying Alyssa.
We were saying Alyssa because she was cleaning
right.
up.
So I guess Esther hasn't ever really been ranked number one. And it is
Not since we
interesting
started doing
that,
Power 11.
yeah, and that's the only thing that counts.
But the moment Lindsay stopped showing up, Esther was the heir apparent.
That was what it seemed like.
Yeah, especially
And
with
she
Nicole
hasn't done
coming
anything
back
to
from
disprove
injury.
it.
Yeah.
Other than not be at these championships, which also, okay, we're assuming she's healthy and fit, right? Making a big assumption for a
Esther?
runner that, yeah.
Oh yeah, she ran recently.
Right. But assuming she's the Esther we know, is this an advantage now that she hasn't been over raced? Because if you look at what Ulrike has done, she's incredibly fit right now. Her track record is really hot right now, but we know what it's like to race a lot. And the races she's been doing are not gimme, either course or competition wide. Why she's in that spot where you're either gonna just keep being you or you're on the edge or already over it. So maybe Esther comes in with an advantage there.
Yeah, and Ulrike is probably is walking up to the start line with some serious confidence, knowing she's the man right now in terms of just no one's beaten her at big races when everybody except I guess Esther and Zuzana haven't been there for the past couple, but she's taken down virtually everybody. So she's got to feel no reason why she wouldn't win this at every single other race for the rest of the year.
What's in her legs right now, though? An ultra, a beast, 15K, 3K,
Traveling.
national series race.
Does that matter for OCR?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Like, you can't say a 50K and a 50K in OCR are the same damage. You can't say a half marathon or marathon out in and out of OCR are the same damage. But just even getting up for these kind of races that many times, that in, recover, out process, that's damaging to an athlete. You only have so many times you can fire like that. And OCR hurts earlier than those other races. So the mental effort it takes during is also pretty big.
And what's your rule of thumb? It's like no big downhills within 3 weeks of a race. That's kind of the rule of thumb.
To be safe.
Yeah, that's usually what I kind of lean on if you're doing like a real hard effort. So Esther, she ended up winning Verbeer in Switzerland, the Beast, on August 24th. So she'll have had a 2-week window from a mountain course. And I don't know if you saw Kevin Gelati's recap. I've known about the course, but he's like, this is a real mountain course, the one that happened in Switzerland. So
gnarly.
I think Esther took some damage on that course. Realistically, she can probably recover as good as anybody, but the course is going to beat you up for a few days, no matter who you are.
But it's also going to be very similar terrain. It's experience she gained where Ulrike was in Costa Rica and really mentally gearing up for those races, right? Like I'm sure she had that circled of an A race over this one, you would imagine.
Probably.
So I think I like BK's point about just mentally having to gear up because she is not on a different level necessarily, a different tier, a different pyramid piece. Because if there's one, maybe if there's only one at the top. But I think it's going to be hard for her to mentally be there. And if Esther is at 100%, and I think I'm going to go Esther. I've talked myself into it. Taking Esther.
I mean, you're either hot or you're fatigued, right? In the line, and it changes quick. When you have confidence, you show, like Jack said, she probably shows up thinking, what can you do to me that I haven't seen recently? Like, I'm locked in. And you are right up into the moment it settles. And we just don't know when that's going to be. I'm not doubting her. We're just playing devil's advocate here.
All that we've said is how, European OCR Championship, our top 11 power rankings are just littered with people in there. Ulrike's beat everybody. And she just took down Nicole. She took down Elisa. She's got to be as confident as anybody. But with that being said, I still think that Esther is the favorite slightly over Ulrike. And I'm going her, Esther, as first and Ulrike second, Zuzana third.
Yeah, there's recency bias here. We watched for years Esther just dog walk the competition in Europe. We saw her unchallenged for a long time other than Lindsay. And so this is like this is a new conversation to be having that can she win a European race? So again, I will reiterate what I said. Whatever way this goes, it's really good for the sport.
And Bracken, you saw Peak Zuzana. What's her biggest skill set? She's a fantastic downhill runner and carrier. That's kind of like what she was known for.
Yeah, and just like engine. She kind of seems bulletproof. But yeah, her carries were like on par with the men, and her descents were not far behind.
Yeah, I thought that she was dealing with some respiratory that she had, like, I don't know if it was long COVID or something, but she had some ailment that definitely had been affecting her for like a year or so, but she's still one of the best in the sport despite her age.
So we have those three at the top, and then Lisa Musacchio coming over from the United States. We currently have 10 on the Power 11. So she could also
She should be on there.
mix it up, right? Where's she based out of, Jack?
Maryland, maybe somewhere in the Mid-Atlantic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to me to see her take the time to go over to the European Championships, really invest in this, knowing that this is where the competition is going to be for the foreseeable future. And has it kind of flipped even in Spartan race now that, like, if you want to go against the best competition, is it kind of like how High Rocks is? Like, you have to go to Europe.
Go to Europe. Yeah.
In order to race the best.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
We used to judge Europeans by who came over here.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have to judge ourselves by who goes over there.
And would always see like 3 guys come to Tahoe, and people don't realize coming over to Europe to the East Coast versus the West Coast is an extra 6 hours of travel, 3 extra hours of time zone difference messed up at altitude. Of course, most of them are not going to do well. So the fact that you had athletes like Susanna and John Albin, like a couple of them winning multiple world championships, just showed how freak of athletes they were. But we never really got to see a whole lot of Europeans, because I feel like after year 1 or 2 at Tahoe, a lot of them were like, it's just not going to happen. That, like, these circumstances are not good. So we'd see a few people floating around like the top 10, but in a more neutral environment, I think we would have had better success in the past. But right now, Europe's where it's at. You got to go over there.
European mountain races are difficult for the U.S. We've proved it in the past that we don't transition to their mountains insanely well all the time. We've had one-off. People have gone, man, this thumbs up is on point today.
Mm-hmm.
But
gotta get some
they're tricky.
Just,
even little things like their balance obstacles, just the way you mount and dismount that, it's kind of shocking for U.S. people when they see it for the first time, even though you know it's probably going to be there. Where the Europeans, they've done it all. They know it. They pick up their chains quicker. They just have that little advantage that you get from being at your place of comfort.
They move well.
So shout outs to her for going over and testing it out, especially because she has been performing so well, and she has a chance to land on the podium here, truly.
Yeah. I've got her ranked as the 4th best in the field. And Bracken, after we did our coverage for Utah, she said it in the post-race interview that she was heading over here. So I talked to her. She's still doing it. So it's kind of cool that she's had this on her radar for a while. So I wonder how specific she's going to be, because we saw her just going unchallenged, just like Esther was for several years in Europe. And now we've seen Lisa step into Big Bear, Utah, going over the European Championship against some of the big dogs and really establishing herself. So she was kind of one of my names to watch this year. And I'm really glad to see that she's like actually pursuing this and facing some solid competition this year.
One of Jack's names to watch that's not documented anywhere. He's just like, yep.
Talk to Matt.
Called it.
Talk to Matt.
You think Matt remembers you saying something like that?
I texted him like, I'm going to pull this up. I had a names to watch article in 2021.
In 2021.
Or no, actually
not 2024.
It was on. I wrote this on October 1st, 2020, and my names to watch had Ulrika and Esther and Annie Dubé. Like I nailed it.
Let's hear the rest. I want to hear you missed on.
So right here, Esther was the first one I mentioned.
He had
then
that
Ulrike
was second. That popped up so fast on his phone.
That's his home screen.
Yeah.
It was in my text with Matt a couple days ago. Annie Dubé was next. Morgan Schultz, Jezebel Kramer, Ariel Fitzgerald, who ended up getting 5th at West Virginia. Lily Elkin, she kind of stopped racing, but I figured she was like the young good one.
Yeah.
Jamie Brusa stopped really racing over in OCR. So those are the ones that I wrote. So I did a pretty good job on that one.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
But wait, did you say Lisa?
Cross my arms, give a progressive.
Not in 2020.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about 2020? You're talking
I know. I should have foreseen better. Yeah.
Jeez.
Bracken gave it a thumbs up.
One, you can definitely turn that off, BK. It's under react.
You want me to?
Yeah.
I don't care. We'll just have to stop mentioning it.
All right, everybody take a shot when Bracken has a thumbs up symbol.
Question Who was the best European athlete who never came to race the United States in the heyday of Spartan?
Spartan or OCR Worlds?
Spartan. What I said.
Spartan. Yeah.
OCR Worlds.
Because we saw Miriam come over. She was definitely up there.
Men or women?
Men or
Well,
women?
while he ruminates, I'm going to say two names that did come over, but only in limited capacity. And I wish Prime, John, and Susanna had come done a series. John did Palmerton. He did Tahoe. Susanna did Tahoe. John did Breckenridge.
Yeah.
Like we saw them out of their element, but we never got to see them like rhythm run a Spartan. And we saw Killian go over there at peak of his powers and do fine, but he didn't look like Killian, just like they didn't look like themselves. So even though we did see them, I wish we could have got a full series of them doing it and committing to it.
Matt Novakovic and Kate Kramer went over for European champs in Scotland, I want to say. They didn't do well.
Oh, really?
No, like 7th place when Matt was winning national series or podiuming. Didn't
it was like 20 plus minutes down or 12 minutes down or something.
Like Albin whooped him.
Oh, Albin was there.
So yeah. Well, and some other guys. I think Connor Hancock would have been good, but he did Tahoe one year. He podiumed at OCR Worlds. So
there's a homework assignment for you.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Why am I blanking on his name now? Always raced in yellow, short little guy. European's best man for a bit would always come over and be top 10 at Worlds.
The Spanish dude?
Yeah, Albert Soleil.
Soleil. I'd love to see Soleil do a series. We never got to see him unleashed. He was always fighting the good fight in Tahoe,
and getting top 10 is really respectable because of the circumstances that face those European athletes to come over to that course. That course is hard for an American athlete who doesn't have that access to that. Yeah. So
Soleil was.
I want Gregory Basilico to come throw down with Hawk and Rylan and whoever else wants to play.
It's going to have to be the other way around.
It is.
Why would he come over here?
I give Rylan a lot of credit going over and still delivering over in Greece. Because Gregory, he's got a couple hour flight from France probably.
That's how it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
If Gregory came over here to race one person for not much money,
you just described OCR.
There was money for a while.
Yeah.
There was money for a while. But
Gregory's been good for a while. He could have.
Not a lot of money. All right. Jack, homework assignment. Let's talk about the dudes. Pull up this list again.
I think Basilico's the answer.
Yeah, we haven't seen him, huh?
Not in US. Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is the answer, isn't it?
Done.
And speaking of, he is in this race. We've seen him sparingly. He's going to be an athlete who is going to lean Spartan, it seems. Because even Spartan obstacles can kind of give him an issue. Yeah. So in a FISO, OCR Worlds, OCR Euros, he might not fare as well. He's done some, right, Jack?
I don't believe he's done anything besides Spartan.
He's only done Spartan.
Him in. Okay. Pretty much, yeah. It might be very similar to Hunter, where it was like he didn't really do anything else. He might have done like a one-off on Savage Race or OCR
Hunter
Worlds.
did OCR Worlds, and Savage. Yeah. But you just named that, I suppose.
But it was just like very limited.
He's beguiling to me because he joins this list of really good athletes who are really good at obstacles and occasionally fail them. You watch him go through rigs and he swings. Yeah, like a Rylan. I would say a Ryan Kent. Like they're good through obstacles, but sometimes just came off. And you never knew why. Like Ryan had his twister thing for a while. And Aziwa, like Ryan was great at obstacles, and Rylan is great at obstacles. He's in an OCR Worlds Championship, but sometimes he just comes off an obstacle. And Basilico has that thing where he flows really nice. He ape swings. He's good on obstacles, but sometimes he just finds his way off them.
Is Gregory Basilico the modern day Merriam for the guys field? Like such head and heels better runner, but also fails obstacles at pretty bad times and high rates.
Have we ever thought Miriam was the best in the world?
I probably did. No, she was probably like top 3.
Does he fail at high rates, or are they just loud failures?
Probably
And
loud, like that one at the finish line in Abu Dhabi. I'm thinking of that one. He
Right.
failed a pretty,
He'd fit.
And that's
Yeah.
a
a
spear
rig.
throw.
Yeah, he failed a rig
He's
at
failed
Trifecta
rigs.
Worlds at the
Yeah.
end. Like there've been a few where it's like
But he
should have
doesn't
made that one.
stack misses.
I
Okay,
thought I thought at Trifecta he was missing like
Yeah, there was a rainy day
regular.
when
Yeah,
when
and
he missed, but
he couldn't make like any of them.
where he went from like leading heading into day 3 and finishing third overall or something. Like it wasn't
I think he's
good.
prime Woods.
Yeah, see, that's the comp.
That's a good
right?
one.
That's his
Yeah.
player comp.
He just
Yeah.
outruns everyone and sometimes struggles on a few of the things, but it generally doesn't matter, but costs him 20K over his career.
Right. He's not the
Yeah.
biggest guy. Could still handle carries well enough.
Woods
Yeah.
got to become a really good carrier.
Monster, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the comp.
That's a
right
good player
there.
comp. Yeah, we'll figure
There was
this
a
out.
year or two where no one could touch Woods' running. No one.
Hobie and Cody weren't doing the series at that point, but
Yeah. he only races
2018
there.
Woods was top 5 all time. Hardest to
Yeah.
beat.
So it's gonna be fun to see Gregory back out on the course as we haven't necessarily seen him, and I guess Spartan Championship season is going to start ramping up here as the summer has ended, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Jack, who else do you like on this list?
Well, I was just going to say Gregory is not actually rusty. So he did end up doing the Verbe Beast, which we had Esther winning last weekend, and or 2 weekends ago, whatever, August 24th. Gregory ended up winning that, and he also won the St. Croix Super in France, which is a national series race earlier
St.
in
Croix?
Croix,
Saint
whatever it is.
Croix.
I don't know what
Croix.
it is.
I don't
Croix.
know.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, I'm saying the
Yeah,
opposite.
Isn't it LaCroix, the drink? So I'm just
La
pronouncing
Croix.
it the same.
If we're saying
LaCroix.
Qua, we can't say Saint.
I butchered that one. So he won. He won a race in France. It's a
Summer's
national
awesome.
series race. Yeah.
Who else we like, Jack?
I mean, look who else is right across. We've got
Jack's boy.
Luca Piscolderung.
Golderong. He was also
he's-
the champion of the 50K, correct?
He won. Yes, he ended up winning the Morzine race, but he's dealing with an injury, and I believe he has like a bone fracture, or a stress fracture that he was dealing with. And he's like, they said that it can't be done in 2 months. I'm gonna get it done in 1 month. So I'm a little worried he might be rushing back too soon.
In his like
Yeah.
lower leg.
I don't know where it is.
It's not like his
Maybe
nose.
sacrum, maybe. I don't know.
Bones don't listen super well to advanced healing timelines.
Dude, better
Mine
or it's
did.
not.
So when I said this is a deeper field, I guess I was wrong. It was just high end was better on the women's because you got Shekla, you've got
Gregor.
Thibaut Jean, you've
Mhm.
got Piscolderung. You even have Nikola Vučković.
Peter Seniga.
Sasha's brother.
Yeah.
There are some
Um,
good names here for sure.
Okay, so Luca, he posted it's a sacrum fracture, small fracture.
Ooh.
That's a
4
scary
weeks.
sound.
Yeah.
Sacrum anything, not great.
Yeah, no bueno. But yeah, that's kind of
really
scary.
painful. That probably sucks real bad.
Can't limp a
Seriously, yeah.
sacrum.
They hurt on like both sides. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. Because Luca, we ended up seeing him. He got second at European Champs in 2021 and 2022 in Italy. He ended up got that one missed. He didn't race that one, but he ended up winning the 2023 in Andorra for the European Champs. So he's the reigning champ. Sucks that he has this injury because he's had a really good season between Alula and Morzine so far.
Yes. And we got Lusty Sven in here.
Sven Lusty, the guy who helped you get some points.
When?
Yeah.
BK, when did you draft him? Jack Campbell.
Morzine.
Oh, Jack.
Oh, sorry. I screwed that one up.
When you have an answer, you're like, can't hold back an answer. BK was like,
It's like I did. Yeah.
Come on. You think I would forget the Lusty Man?
I mean, I
No.
know
Who,
you.
who else
I
is on your
believe that
team
you
that week,
remembered you
Bracken?
drafted him by saying
Give
it,
me,
but I
give
don't.
me two other guys you drafted or
Where you
women in that
drafted him.
race. Yeah,
I
Listen,
don't think I
I'm
could tell
not
you a
pulling
single
up
person.
old receipts here. All I can
Yeah.
say is I won and let's move forward.
Fair.
It's real convenient that we haven't had any FISO drafts, European. Rich is like, I gotta stay in first place. We've got to bail on these. So
Whenever we
pointed
do,
that out.
whenever we do High Rocks, Jack's out. He's like, I can't go against the goat in drafting for
Yeah.
High Rocks.
I'll be back.
I'm dodging you in OCR
Dodging.
European stuff.
All right.
But here, Basilico is a clear favorite. I don't, especially if Luke is coming on an injury that does not sound pleasant.
No.
So the battle is for second, I would say. I bet. How much do you think Basilico will win by?
7 minutes.
12.
12. You want to take an over?
Damn.
Pascalderong injured? Give me 12.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm saying 7
What
minutes.
What did Luca win by in the Ultra?
More than 12.
It was 20 something. Cut that in
Yeah.
half. Give me that for Basilico.
I'm going 7 minutes because that's what he beat Thibaut Jean in last week in Switzerland, and I think Thibaut is going to get second, given the circumstances.
I'm greedy.
Jack was trying to put Tebow on like the top all-time
Top 11,
list.
top all time.
No, you weren't you trying to make it? You were definitely trying to make.
I think I said he has a comparable thing with Bracken, but then I rescinded.
It's probably disrespectful to him
at this point. Yeah.
Right now Basilico is 17, BK is 18. We got to get Bracken.
I was gonna say if we have Bracken ahead of Gregory, it's time to do the old switcheroo.
This is all time. This is not the Power 11.
Just how powerful is that though? To know that I'm
one
so close
to
one of the greatest ever. Just it reminds you how good I am.
Just keep pushing. Just keep pushing.
Yeah.
Man, one spot away. I'm one away from passing it. One win. One good
honestly,
solid
Bracken,
win.
if you went to Morzine this year and like got on the podium, that would have been your second Ultra World Championship podium for Spartan. You would have been in a class of your own right there. Would have been something else.
I'm in my own class.
Yeah.
But it's remedial.
Yeah.
We don't have Ricky on the list, so she's going to make a major jump. She's going to be on this all time. She's had such a good year. She's going to be an all timer now.
So is Gregory to the point here with Pascalderong out? Because that would be fun to watch that happen in the mountains, especially steep mountains. Luca's such a good mountain runner. Is it to the point where he needs a Hawk for a real fight? And does Hawk need him? Like we fed him KBB and it wasn't enough, and that pains me to say. Like I still fly his flag. Like who doesn't get who's in between KBB and Hawk? Like there's in the mountains.
If you're taking Albin and Atkins out of the equation,
yeah, and we still we don't know Ryland's status. Like is it just these two now, each holding it down for their continent?
Right, because if we add Yessa DeHare and Steen Legrand in a course like this, I don't know how well they would fare. I think that they would do fine, but I don't think they can run with Hawk or Basilico.
I mean, they can run with anybody so far that we've seen them in. Have
we seen like a 13-mile race in the mountains?
But it's these four.
I guess not. Yeah,
we could argue which tier they are, but it's these four right now on the men's side in OCR.
Let's fund Hawk to get over there.
Yeah.
Where's Worlds this year?
Abu
Dhabi? Michigan?
Send them for the spring. Croatia.
Oh.
If it was Michigan, it'd be over. You can already write me that check.
Dude, they don't want that. No. We should get everybody together, fly Basilico out here, get Hawk there, put him on the mitten, battle in Michigan.
You know that Prefontaine quote, like if I can turn it into a race of toughness or whatever.
The most guts or whatever, yeah.
If I can just turn a 15K race to a 40-meter sprint, I'll take on anyone.
Dude, just jump over one wall and then
that's
gone.
That's it. It's just the first 99% that always trips me up.
For sure. Dude,
and that's why I'm number 18. Remember that name.
Remember it. Who's the greatest number 18 out there?
Logan will never forget. So, yeah, I think that's the race that could this, if we got that showdown, right? Say, so Abu Dhabi with World Championships, what's the prize payout? Same as last year, worse? Because it had been around 20 grand for a couple of years, right?
Are you asking how much
Yeah,
money they said they're going to give away?
Yes.
said or
Okay.
will. I thought
Said.
it
Yeah,
was
20
like
grand.
yeah,
It's
20,
20 again.
15, 10 or something.
What distance for Beast?
Beast. Hot Call's got to get over there.
I don't even think I want to. Like, I was gonna say, like, if we got Hawk versus Basilico, that would kind of be like, could that help the fandom of the sport? I mean, it wouldn't hurt, obviously, but would people care
Outside
other
the
than
sport?
us? No, no one's gonna care outside of the sport. But would people care the way that they did when it was like Atkins racing Killian type of thing in the heyday of
It would be our version of that.
it would be the
Yeah.
current version, right?
Yeah, it couldn't match it. No. But
Players
it would be the
retire.
best we could do.
Yeah, players retire and like new names come in all the time in other sports. It's just the recognition. It takes time to develop, and
Hawk's
it started-
currently doing something with his running that we've only ever seen John Albin do, which is move to the trails and mountains and compete
Yeah.
and wax people at a lot of them. So
Lindsay's
it's to the
done it.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's to the point where we need to see it now. Like he's checked every prerequisite box that now we just need to see him at a world championship. It's due. And if that means that Race Brain helps fund it, like I'm okay with that. Really.
Let's make it happen.
I'll sell off some of these shoes around me.
Did you try this Prime? Did you try the Prime X yet, or is your butt have different?
My butt can handle
wearing them?
anything,
Yeah.
but especially these. Yeah, I ran 7 in them yesterday.
Were you flying?
They
Bouncy?
are heavy.
Well, I mean, they're stacked like 50 millimeters.
Yeah.
Not like they even say on it 50. Just
Not
in case
legal.
That's
you
absurd.
were wondering about it.
That's a 2-inch stack height.
50. Yeah.
When I put them on, I'm
You're 6 feet.
like, put me in the combine.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
I'm 6 feet. Come on, dude.
I had a very
Are you
different
5'10"
reaction to
or
those shoes
5'11"?
Come on.
than some other people have had.
You don't like them?
They're fine, but I keep hearing they're crazy bouncy, like out of control. It's hard to control the shoe, but like don't even think about turning in these.
Yeah.
And we ran a street with a bunch of cul-de-sacs and like hairpin turnarounds. These feel super stable to me, but I didn't
Nice.
get like a crazy pop off them. So
Huh.
I don't know. I got like a weird relationship with them, but they got better throughout the run. The last 2 miles felt better. So I know there's going to be a break-in period. And
Maybe it's like a speed thing. How
they
fast you
also
run.
felt like they want to go a little quicker.
I think I wore them for a long run one time because I was like just so beat that I was like, I'm just gonna put these bad boys on and just bounce around for a while.
Yeah.
I made it through.
Yeah.
I made it through.
Just to go back to Euros real quick, there's another guy who got 3rd place, 40 seconds behind Stein Legrand at the European 12K, so the long course championship this past year, and he was second place was Jesse Hare. So Loris Pintarelli, I think he could end up doing well. Clearly, he can hang with those guys on running and obstacles. So, will it translate to mountains? No clue, but he's one of the best currently.
Okay. So yeah, we've asked the community a few things today. Those who are on first name basis with Hawk, find out if he's amenable to heading on over to Worlds. See if this is something he's even interested in. I think that the sport needs it to happen.
Right. Because if it's not him, then it will probably be just a replay of this race.
It's be Euros.
Yeah. And with the stupid qualification system that they have, like he's one of the rare few who's actually able to race it because of qualifying, right?
Is he in or does he have to go to Seattle?
He can't make Seattle. He told me he has a trail race that he already had scheduled.
Right. So
he
what
will
is
not
the
be in.
qualifying for Worlds? I don't
He
even
should be
remember
because of a
anymore.
national series race.
If you win if you win 2 national series races, then you're
we're-
not allowed to race. Yeah.
Shouldn't should.
Stop.
I
That's
know.
true.
I
That's
know.
We're
true.
applying modern logic to something that's not. Oh, we got the camera going.
Uh-oh.
Camera's going. I
shrinking.
thought that was all the way to the ceiling.
Yeah, I
that-
was like,
that
is Bracken's
wood
house
paneling.
sinking or yeah?
But was it?
Now I know what
Did it
color
work?
wall Bracken has. I thought this thing kept going and going.
I just figured. I didn't even think it went higher than
Yeah.
that.
Jack,
shoe. I
you
said
don't
that
know
was
what
like
color
a
wall
box.
this is.
Yeah,
I
no,
wouldn't
Rich might.
anyway, but
I could tell you,
yeah.
kind of.
Okay, it stopped being wood. That's all I know now.
It's like it's somewhere between gray and other shades of gray.
Yeah, might be white, might be black. Yeah, yeah. Hot call.
Was there a
will not
point?
be-
Was there a point that we were making?
I bet it's been made.
Yeah.
Onwards.
Done.
We probably
got
did.
distracted.
So we're expecting a special guest here in a bit as we transition into DEKAFIT, Florida. It is the final stop in the United States to qualify for the World Championships. We did see that there is 1 to 2 Australian races.
UK and Australia after.
One
for DEKAFIT.
Australia race or 2?
There's a weekend. I know Chris Woolley, James Kelly, and a few other big names are going to be going down there, and I think Melbourne.
JK's going to do it?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, but they're giving like 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, something like that for prize money to get some names. So yeah,
cash in hand at the finish line. I like it.
I don't know. This is a local production. So, but
Just
it's on the
straight
Spartan Australia page. Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe we'll go. Trying to go?
Yeah. I mean,
springtime.
I'm not doing anything that day. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
easy flight. So we have, again, the final stop in the United States, the preview of the World Championship venue, correct?
This is where the next race will be.
It's like the Olympics.
And then the second race after that. Yeah. Diamond League. Sometimes they'll have it the same year, right?
They had a Paris
Diamond League.
Yeah. Olympic triathlon, they do a trial event. They do it on some road courses. This is now on the fringe of being an Olympic sport.
Finally.
We're following the footsteps. So Jack, do you have the list there you want to pull up? Preview on the men's and women's side?
Do you want me to do a screen share?
Let me allow you.
All right.
Go ahead.
Appreciate it. All right, let me pull it up.
Pull up the leaderboard.
Yeah. And it looks
I've got
like
the hard questions ready for him too when he pops on today. Yeah, I'm gonna grill him.
He gonna get it.
So let's take a look at this leaderboard for the seeds. All right, you guys see that?
You see it?
It's based on PRs.
Look at the top seed.
I'm gonna be there, and I'm the #1 seed.
Big money coming in on Jack Bauer.
But I'm going to need to run fast because 15 spots make it to Worlds right now, and I'm sitting in like 28th or something. But if you look at that leaderboard, which you'll pull up in a sec, Rich, you have Adam Beach, 32.08, Connor Bell, 32.11, John Howard, 32.15, James Muscart, 32.17. You've got a lot of people who are just on the fringe, and I think that we're going to see some fast times because you either make it or you don't during this race. So I think it's going to be a very competitive field at the top of the men's race.
Last chance qualifier.
That's how it's been the past couple of years.
It's
the past
cool.
2 years, it's really produced. Well, it was in West Palm, so it's a different venue, but it had produced very fast times the past 2 years for people looking to get into the World Championships.
So this is Ocala, brand
new, beautiful Ocala.
Yeah.
So what's the current time to beat? Assuming we have to save one because we know Chris Woolley will make the flight to Worlds. You can't stop that guy from traveling.
Yeah. Spain would be where I'd be looking at.
There's a dude, the 15th place person right now is from Spain. Emilio Martin is 31:41.
Okay.
So Jack,
basically,
what place
I
are
need
you
to set
in?
a PR, like 28th or something. There's a huge gap. There are like 10 people within a 15-second window. 6-second PR.
That's all you need is 7 seconds?
Yeah, and I'm in.
All right. Well, if you stay out of the bathroom during it, I like your odds.
Yeah.
You don't have a great history with racing in Florida.
I know. I'm gonna have to
poop inside of you.
That was Florida. That wasn't Chicago. You're right.
That was Florida.
Yeah.
The whole state remembers it.
I'm gonna stop sharing because we have a special guest.
We're gonna bring in our very special guest, newly anointed. What's the title?
I don't know.
You know. Stop.
You
this.
know it.
Grand Poobah. I'm pretty sure that's what they take from the Flintstones. No, I think head of officiating is probably the right one.
Head of officiating for DEKAFIT, Dave Claxton of OFX Podcast. Thanks for joining us today, dude.
No problem. Can you hear me okay? This is a bit of a different spot for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sounds good as Jack.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. So Dave, wanted to have you on, talk about this a little bit. There was big news that dropped maybe last week after a bit of a debacle that happened in DEKAFIT, Pennsylvania. And you are just a shining star, the North Star for people like me who like to complain and just voice my opinion. that you can make the change. You can be the change, Dave Claxton, if you just complain enough.
And then that's what I do too, right? That's how I got this, right? I just kept
Exactly.
complaining.
So thank you for blazing this trail for us all here. So kind of tell us about the process, man. How did this come about?
Well, I think like over the past, I don't know, however long, I've been one of Yancey's many sounding boards when he wants to go through rules or situations or whatever the case. I mean, there's many of us that he talks to. He likes to get a lot of opinions before he makes decisions. And just in this particular occasion, I mean, this is something I've mentioned I'd be interested in before. And in this particular occasion, after what happened in Oaks, I was just I talked to him and he can vouch for this, but I told him that I did not, I respect his motivation, why he did what he did, but I didn't agree with what he had decided. And and I understood where he was coming from, but I thought still it wasn't maybe the right call for that situation. And I offered, to help any way I could, if I could. And I think the line I actually said was, "Get me down to Oaks and I'll fix it," or not Oaks to Ocala and I'll fix it, which might have been a bit brash and a bit arrogant, but internet talk.
Classic
So,
Canadians.
Pardon me.
Classic Canadian response.
He said,
Exactly.
get in your van, start trekking your way down.
Yeah, you driving? You flying?
I'm actually gonna fly. I can't quite make the drive. It was such short notice that I couldn't make the drive for this one.
Now, is this a phobia, or you're just like, hey, you like the open road?
No, it's just I realistically and mathematically believe if the drive is under 8 hours from where I live, I can beat it. I can beat the plane.
Jack, is this true?
I don't know where Dave lives, but
No,
yeah,
just
it's true.
8 hours.
8 hours
distance driving better than.
When I lived in Houston, it was about a 3.5, 4 hour drive to Dallas for some reason. I always drove to Dallas. If I was going to like Atlanta, that was like 14. I'm always flying. I would say 6 hours is kind of where I'd draw the line. Like I wouldn't fly. Rich, you're in Colorado, you're in Denver. What are you doing to Salt Lake City? That's 8 hours.
That's like 8. I flew. Hell yeah.
I'm flying. Yeah.
There's that tipping point where the time doesn't match up to the strain and cost of stress and travel on your body.
Right.
And it's right around that 6 to 8 hour mark.
Paying attention on the drive is exhausting, and I don't necessarily want to do that the day before a race.
See, I can drive. I can drive all day and night. That doesn't stress me out in the least. That's not a problem. It's just but where I live, I'm like 90 minutes to the airport. Then for international flights, we need to be there because it's a ridiculous airport for like 2.5 hours beforehand. Then wherever I land, I got to get a rental car plus the time of the flight. Then getting from that location to wherever we're going. Yeah, 6 to 8 hours somewhere in that area.
So you're not saving time. You're not saving time.
No. I think if you're staying there for like 3-4 days after, it's okay. Then you can drive because it's like you're saving the money on the rental car at that point. But if it's just a weekend trip and I need to race from Colorado to Salt Lake City and come back, I'm flying. I don't want to have to deal with that change.
Maybe now with your big promotion, you could be like John Madden. It's an American football reference, and you could they get you a bus. They could just send you around.
So
I've seen the video game. I know John Madden.
Nice, good. So
I
now,
have a question. Oh,
okay.
you got a question? Continue.
No, I was just going to get us back on track. BK has a question. Is it?
Yeah, as the Robert Coble of Deka now, what are you doing to ensure that we don't have more Trustgate issues?
So for the start, and I mean, this position right now is not a full-time position, right? So I'm going to be venue to venue. So I will be head of officiating for the site for that day. So I can't and I've had a lot of people ask me stuff like this. I can't go in changing rule books. I can't go in doing all that stuff. I pretty much just have to enforce what's there. Now I can have a voice to help change and stuff, but it's not my call, right? Maybe one day down the road, who knows? But right now, that's not my mandate. My mandate is to try to enforce the rules as they are right now. The one thing that I can say is that we will not have any more video review of rep quality.
Nice.
That's not going to be a thing. So
I can ever on any zone. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. We're not gonna go back and video review and anything like that for rep quality.
For only rep quality. Would you use it for lap counting
or rep count?
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest. We have not discussed that part yet, so I'm not really at liberty to say
Write that down, Rich. That's one in the
Yeah,
negative column for this guy.
I'm doing a
yeah, yeah.
250
I
this
would.
weekend.
That's
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
down. We
yeah.
got one pro. We got one con. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then the other part that, I mean, whether you agree with this or not, the one thing that I would look at video for is safety infractions, like serious safety issues, because I just think that's something that whether you got caught on video or not, or whatever the case may be, you shouldn't be doing. So if it's a safety thing and it's a penalty that needs to be
Like
done,
a
and I
physical
see a video
altercation on the course.
physical altercation, throwing the ram from up above, stuff like that, like stuff
How
that we
about
know. Yeah.
how about
Go ahead.
dumbbells for farmers carry? Like if they're not returned in a
Yeah,
stopped
because
stationary position, like
yeah, because I view that as a safety thing. If you're letting those dumbbells slide out across the floor and you got other racers running in, someone's going to blow out an ankle or whatever they can land on a foot. You can do some damage, and there's no need if everybody's following the same rules. There's no, that's not where you should be trying to make up ground by cheating your essential housekeeping. You should be making up ground on your race, not by cheating safety standards.
so
That's yeah, no.
you're not recreating anything. You're just enforcing the current rules that are out there.
That's right. And hopefully helping to define and have a consistency and understanding of what they are. That'll be a big thing. I'll be doing a pre-race briefing for all the athletes as well as all the judges so that everybody's on the same page as to what is acceptable, what's not acceptable, and what is a reasonable expectation from the athletes.
So that's a bit of the question that I had, right? Because that was something that was part of the process for Deka. It'd be like, whatever, 20 minutes before the race, everybody gathers around Yancey and he kind of takes us through everything quickly, but he still took us through everything. And you would see that there was a briefing for the judges before the race would happen, maybe an hour before the start of the first race. The judges would go from station to station and they would get talked to. So one of the primary issues that we've had here, and I think you've been on all over this for a long time, is the quality of judges and how to make sure that they are enforcing the rules when it can't just be you, right? Like you can't be everyone's judge.
No.
So what are you going to do differently in this case that is going to help the consistency of judging across the board?
So part of the people have been thinking that it's stuff like, well, the judges don't know the rules or don't do this. And I'll be honest, sometimes that is the case. Sometimes they're not squared up on exactly what the rules are and the guidelines are. Sometimes they read the rules and have been read the rules, but to read it and understand it are not always the same thing. So I'm gonna make sure that they're educated. Each judge is educated on what they need to do and what the expectation is. So I'm not only just gonna say, here's the rules, and this is what you have to call a rep or a no rep on, but I'm gonna physically demonstrate what's acceptable and what's not acceptable to them. So they have a visual aid to see this is that and this is no good. So the other thing is I'm gonna empower them and let them know that if they call a no rep, that I've got their back. That I'm like, yeah, put it this way, as long as it wasn't absolutely perfect and you call it a no rep, that's your judgment call, right? So I'm going to let them know that they are empowered to do so. They're not just there to count. They're there to ensure that the guidelines are upheld.
Now, one thing, I was just going to say one thing on that in terms of judge experience, it kind of sounds like you were going through, some people might have more experience than others. Would you ask them like in the starting area beforehand, it's like, hey, is this your first time volunteering? Okay, you're going to stand at the ski erg because all you have to do is make sure it's 500 meters. And, you've volunteered at 5 other races or competed yourself. You can judge what a lunge is compared to, would you kind of give a little bit of priority to people who have more experience on the tougher to judge zones?
100%. And not only that, it's not just experience, it's attitude, right? You don't want, for example, like in the burpees and the lunges, especially, right? We all know that's where it's really made, where everything's made and goes awry. We don't want someone who, one, is too intimidated or nervous to enforce the rules, but we also don't want someone who's going to burn the world, who just wants to no rep everything, that just wants to be on screen swinging their arms going no rep, right? So we have to try to make sure we get the right people in the right spot. And yeah, people who are maybe less experienced and less willing to assert authority, yeah, well, okay, we'll go over. You can help. You can do the rower, or you can go over for the bikes, or whatever. Something that is farmers carry that's a little less high pressure. Put it that way, so that they get a chance to warm up to it, and then maybe they take some time off there for the open waivers, go judge some open, do something like that, and when they get some experience with it, the next time they're more valuable.
So I'm happy to hear that you are going to hopefully instill confidence that the call that they make on the course will be upheld and will give them the power to do that. That was something that I did kind of have issue with the reversing of the rules
Yeah.
in NorCal or SoCal, where the person on site was basically overruled. And it's like, okay, like
Mhm.
what are we even doing? Like this guy is supposed to run the show, make the conf. So I'm happy that it's going to be a part of your platform. Yeah, I feel like you're running
Yeah.
for office here. There's a
Um,
lot. Every
Deka
Tuesday
Dave.
we're gonna be on here just looking to talk shit. You
Dude,
know, so
there's a lot of pressure to it, man. Like a lot of people want this to work really well, myself included. And you know, shit can go south really easy. So for me, because it's not like you say, it's not me. I'm not everywhere. I'm not judging everybody. So I have a whole bunch of people that have to do their job right in order for me to succeed at this. So it becomes the ultimate in teamwork, right? So we're all in it together, and hopefully we can. I'm confident that we can make it better, right? And especially over time, get better and better and better, so that we're consistently like we want. That's all. I think that's all. Any like, I mean, we all compete there. I think all we want is consistency. We just want to know what's expected, and then it be the same every time.
mm-hmm.
So I had a question about the exact scenario, not of how it should have been handled or whatever, but your mindset of how you view a judge's role in something like this. So in the most recent incident,
Mhm.
the burpees were being done so fast. I don't know if
Yeah.
we've ever seen someone move the ram as rapidly to the top and down as we saw there, which just was fun. Whether there's full extension or not, it was a really impressive display of athleticism.
Oh,
But
yeah.
in a situation like that, I assume you're not watching every athlete. You're watching the judges, watching the athletes, and kind of monitoring. What
Mhm.
could you have even done in a situation like that where it would take a trained eye? Like you had people watch that video and come to different conclusions who could
Yeah.
watch it several times. How do you handle an outlier situation like that in the moment? Is it solely just these are judgment calls and we're letting it ride, whatever the judge goes with?
So in that particular situation, if I it's let's say seeing the first, I don't know, let's call it 3 to 5 reps where we could tell that there wasn't the standard to being met, that not what we wanted to see. In that particular occasion where the judge just didn't seem willing to call the no reps or what the case, I would have asserted myself and called the no reps, and
How?
become part of
You
it.
would have been they would have been at
Retroactively?
zero still.
What's that?
Would they have been at
It,
zero still when you said
it
no
would
rep?
be
Or
it would be what I would have seen and be able to see, right? So if I saw 3 no reps and they allowed them, then yeah, I would run over and call the no reps on.
You'd call them back.
Yeah, the three, if because we're still in play. We're not done yet.
you'd be like
Okay.
you're not on 5, you're on 2, 2, 2
Yeah,
until you
yeah,
get it right. Okay.
yeah.
So the argument
we're
to
not.
that, and I'm not arguing
Mhm.
against you, I'm doing the argument that
Yeah.
you'll get, is that
Oh yeah.
since the athlete wasn't told in the moment, they couldn't self-correct, and now they're being punished with 4 extra reps of effort that they didn't know they need to correct, and now they're reset. Whereas when you step in, they have the chance to correct on 1. Like if they're on rep 5,
Yep.
the difference between
Yep.
starting
Yep.
on 1 and 6 is astronomical effort-wise.
Yes.
So what's
Yes.
your response to that?
And that's a really fair point, and I think that might actually have to come down to a spot of how many reps are we talking about, right? Like,
Okay.
and it's a case where if I saw something that quickly, like I'm only gonna let 1 or 2 go, right? If it looks really egregious. So yeah, I think that's gonna be a case of a judgment call, which is
Yeah.
the judge's thing, and whichever way you do it, you're gonna get flack either way, and that's something I accept. Like whatever call I make, it's somebody's not gonna like it, right?
Correct.
It's this weekend was a outpouring of supreme positivity, and I expect that to be the end of it because
For
like
sure.
it's sure enough we're going to piss somebody off and it's going to go south. But all we can do is try to do the best and be as consistent as possible.
So you
So
are able to override an active judge.
I am,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah,
your
I would be.
goal,
No,
but you
no,
can.
no. Yes, yeah,
If you see
absolutely.
a missed call, you can in the moment before they've completed that zone be like,
Yeah,
this is actually what's going on. But as soon as they leave there, it's like, water under the bridge has already happened.
yeah. When you
So
cross the line, you've crossed the line, and as far as rep quality goes.
in your briefing, are you using go, no go examples like that video? Like she's flying here, this is good. As soon as this seg, this is not good, and this is what we're looking for? Or is it kind of just like we're reiterating what our standards are and try to play with, you're allowed to try your form or whatever, but you're going to get called.
No, I'm essentially going to physically demonstrate what I accept and what I don't, and what
Okay.
I feel should be the same.
At
So I
at
mean,
race speed.
hey, well, at race speed, that's going to be the judge's call. I will try to, but
Okay.
initially we'll do it slow. But essentially, basically, like, take the burpees for example. If you lock out your elbows, you have absolutely nothing to worry about, right? And then if you read the rule book, it does not say lockout; it says full extension, right?
Mhm.
And that is
So where does that
actually
end?
and that's the question, right? So what it is,
Yeah.
if you lock out your elbows, you're completely fine. Obviously, that is as extended as it's going to get. Nobody can argue that's full extension, so you will never have anything to worry about. Yeah, and that
BK,
snap
little
on that elbow
jammer.
being really fast is tough. So
If you let
that'll
go
be
with one arm to the side,
no, because it's not both overhead. You got to have it
Snatch
overhead.
it.
okay, yeah.
So,
But is there a verticality
there's
principle?
absolutely a verticality to it. You can't have it out in front of you. And we've seen that a few times, and I
So
don't mind
stop
naming
me.
names. Yeah,
Stop me when you're out of compliance.
I think you're done there.
Okay, so
Just seeing. So
the
in CrossFit,
logical
they'll say
place.
seeing
Yeah.
like ears come through.
Yeah. Exactly. If you can see the ears from the side, you're out of there. And
Excellent.
what I intend to tell people
Head
is
through.
just, if then again, if you're locked out, you're great, you're golden. If you have a slight bend in your elbows, all of a sudden you're allowing yourself to be in the judge's discretion. And that's your risk. Sometimes you're going to get it, sometimes you're not. You're not always going to be in the same spot. So as an athlete, that's a game you're playing. It might work out for you, it might not.
Well,
then,
if they
of
know
course,
you're watching.
if you're there, then just forget it.
As athletes like come in the zone, are you gonna be like, guy, I'm watching you, like don't no rep. You're gonna get 10 seconds every time you screw up, just in the people's ear, just generally.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the hope for me is that just the fact that we are now taking a stronger stance and really policing this, and we're like, okay, this is it. We're done kind of with the halfway. We're going to try to really address the sport, the elites, and like Yancey said in his post, I want to really pay attention to the elites and make up for some stuff there. I hope just the fact that athletes know now they're not going to get away with 7 warnings. You're not going to get warning after warning after warning. So it becomes a lot more risk reward for the athlete. And I think a lot of times, most of them knowing that are just going to comply, and they're going to look like Jack on lunges.
Just standing there.
That's what I'll do.
Just
I was
wait
gonna say, I might get out first now because I'm the only one who's doing it right. Yeah.
Just hearing, Jack's pumped about this. Dave, what are you most worried about?
Most worried about, honestly, is the things that I can't control. So, I mean, I can help people, I can encourage them, I can try to empower them as far as the judges and volunteers. But ultimately, they got to do their job. And that's the thing that's hard. So I just have to do my job as best I can to make them feel comfortable and empowered to do their job. So yeah, things that are out of your control, sometimes obviously not having enough judges, that's a concern sometimes. But hopefully as we do this and as it becomes better and better, maybe some people will be more inclined to want to judge, because it'll be a position where they're like, okay, this is something I want to be a part of now, right? I'm not just there counting reps. I'm involved. I'm part of the system. I'm making a difference. So maybe it's just that, yeah, the things that are out of my control, that's what worries me.
All right, Dave, another question for you. We've got a situation this weekend where spots for worlds are on the line. You have 5 people in the men's field who might be within 15 to 20 seconds of each other at the finish line. What are you doing to ensure that all 5, 6, however many there are doing proper reps? How are you making sure that the entire team and everyone is grading form properly on that at the end?
Well, again, like I said, we're going to have the same discussion with the same briefing that I have with the athletes with the judges. It'll be identical as far as what the expectations are. So everybody will be on the same page. The other part is we are obviously going to make sure that in zone 1 and in zone 10, we have our absolute best judges available doing those areas, especially for the first elite waves coming in. And then I'm going to be in every zone with the front runners of the elite waves, both men and women, to make sure that I can police it as best possible. So, all we can do is the best and make everything crystal clear. And then it becomes in the athlete's hands. I mean, if they're going to cheat reps a little bit and they get caught, then that's on them, right? If they're going to go full lockout, then they got nothing to worry about, and they will have the absolute best judging quality. So,
And that's the thing, though. It's like at that level riding that line. You know, I wish everybody would
Yep.
just like and stand it up
Hmm.
for the integrity piece, but when it's competition and you're in the
Yep.
heat of it, you might not know. You might not like
No, it's gonna be there is gonna be that gray area, like I said, and if you put yourself in that gray area, like we know, like I said, it doesn't say full lockout. So if you got a little bend in your elbow, 99% of the time you're gonna be okay. But it's when you
yeah.
start to get lower and lower that you put yourself at risk, and it's not the judge putting you at risk. It's not the judge giving you a no rep. It's you giving yourself one.
Hmm.
Like you put yourself in a position to allow a judge to make a judgment call. You didn't give that judge no other choice but to call a good rep.
So no more hunching over at the waist and getting your arms up. It's got to be you got to be standing up on these burpees.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna
we
And
call
that's
you
how it's
out.
been, right?
Don't
It's been better
waste the
this year.
effort. Yeah,
The burpees for the most part have been a lot better this year.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's been
I agree.
compared to last year, there's been a huge improvement, right? This is just essentially not letting things fall back down.
Yeah.
Right. And so that athletes know, even if I'm chasing, like in the situation at Oaks, even if I'm chasing and I'm giving everything I got, well, the way to chase is not to cheat your form. It's not going to work. So
Well,
the
how
way
many DEKA fits have there been this year in the US?
I think this was
6 or
seven.
7?
Yeah,
And we've had
this is
3
seven.
podium instances.
Mhm.
So it's not epidemic. It's just
Yeah.
highly visual because it's been on camera.
And
then we
everyone's
get
been a
loud about it.
little bit. Everyone's been a little bit different as to what happened and what went wrong.
Yeah.
But so but it just comes down to hopefully sticking to the rule book as best we can,
Mhm.
enforcing the standards and being consistent. And that's probably the best we can do. It is what it is. The reason though to really have this done in Ocala is that so for Worlds, everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Because we want to work out the kinks here. This was incredibly short notice for me.
Hmm.
So it was a bit of an undertaking to even make it happen. But yeah, in order to get things sorted out for Worlds, that it has to be done. It has to be done here, and we have to assert what will be the standard.
Well, shout outs to you, Dave. It was really exciting to see your name put up there because when they said there was going to be somebody like, what is this going to be somebody else within the Spartan organization that they just stick in? We've seen this happen before, and it's like nothing changes.
I was going to be Watson. So I was
Bracken was hoping. He was like, man, if we can just bring him back into the mix, a lot of content.
They gotta get him doing someone doing the officiating for the regular Spartan races. Someone else can deal with that.
Wild West out there. Just make it be that way. And shouts to you for like taking this on. Like if someone came to me after I would just be critical and like, hey, do you want to come change it? I'd be like, nope. But you stood right up. You're like, I'm the guy. I'll take it on the chin.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked a lot for like 4 years about stuff like this, and
You've got practice.
Yeah,
you know what to look for.
I'll take.
Yeah. Just put my money where my mouth is. Like I've judged so many smaller events and stuff, right? So the Deka Strongs and miles and everything everywhere, all over the place. And I've done so much judging in the fits, volunteers, and at Worlds and everywhere. Like it's not like it's new to me. It's just just a step up essentially. But yeah, it's good. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a challenge, and I hope I can live up to it and live up to all the positivity I got from everybody.
Because you're right, it's over.
That's right. At the end of it, it's done. It's done.
Yeah,
But
Yancey didn't
no
clean
rep
up the
jack and it
sport.
costs him a podium. Shit will hit the fan.
Yep. I'm
Yancey's
making
not
it 4
cleaning
for
up the
4.
sport. He's hiring a scapegoat.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Smart man.
Canadian
100%.
scapegoat.
Yeah,
That's right.
we'll pile on without a problem.
Dave's just gonna say sorry to everything, so it'll be
Yeah,
perfect.
he's gonna take it. He's gonna be too polite.
Apologize.
Oh, sorry.
Messed that
Sorry
one
about
up.
that, eh?
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't talk buckets at least a little bit.
For sure.
And I have a weird relationship with this because I've only heard it secondhand. I've never actually heard you talk about buckets. So I'm totally judging you off Rich Ryan, which I think is the way I go through life on most things. But I actually do want to hear from the Canadian scapegoat's mouth. Okay. What is your actual bucket stance and why with wall balls?
First off, if you're getting all your information from Rich Ryan, Bracken, I thought you were smarter than that. I mean,
he's
right off the bat.
I'm a little duckling behind him.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with the buckets, and it's not even the bucket. What I've always been is with the problem Hyrox has with the wall balls, right? I mean, they've addressed all this money and effort into making sure everybody hits a pea-sized mark on the top of the target, when that's not really, in my mind, been the big issue. It's been everybody consistently getting to depth. So in my mind, with so many judges and stuff, and the quick fix was to just use the boxes, right? They have Hyrox boxes, not even buckets anymore. They got the boxes, make everybody squat to the box and then throw the ball. And then your problem is solved. There's no judging issues. There's no video where like, oh my God, he was off here, he was off here. No, it's he hit the mark and he threw it up. If you look at nuclear race in the UK, they're using a similar strategy at the end of their race where they have it's essentially a bench anyway. And then they push press it almost looks like a stretcher of sorts. Anyway, it's the same motion as the wall ball. And they come and they have the bench where they have their essentially it's like a box squat. And then there's no argument. It's they hit it and they threw the ball and they hit the target. Job's done.
You know, it's more
Simple and
popular
easy.
than, you know, it's no more doing better than nuclear race.
What's
High
that?
Rocks.
Mm.
High Rocks is doing way better than that. The optics of
And
a
just think
bucket,
how well they'd be doing if there was
dang.
no controversies all this time.
So-
no way. If you
So
put a
then-
bucket at the end, people be like,
You can't have the bucket. You get a nice high rocks box, all sorts of things. More spot.
I would
to put
just
a
change. I would just
sponsor, all
be
their
like,
lettering on.
I'd just
You can
change
put
the
hemorrhoid
movement.
cream on there because you're sitting your butt on it. It's fantastic. All these sponsorships available.
I would change the movement before adding a hemorrhoid
So
Anyway.
bucket.
bringing that back to Deka,
Mhm.
what is that equivalent for the Ram burpee? Because the chests aren't hitting the
Yeah.
Rams either. Just like they're
No.
not. I would say that's happening less. So is it the old stadion hand release? Is that the bucket equivalent? How are you making sure? Because one of the hardest things to do, especially if they're not shirtless, is to see, are they hitting their belly button,
Yeah.
their sternum, their nipples, their clavicle, like what's actually touching? And that was part of the issue on some of the burpees as well this weekend, is it looked like they were kind of just humping the ram and slinging it in the air. So what's the bucket equivalent for burpee?
And again on that one too, you got to go back to the rule book. The rule book says this says the was it sternum, I believe. Not sternum, it's not trunk, it's not sternum. It's
Thorax.
yeah. It's a very
Midsection.
wide area. Pardon me? What's that, Jack?
Just like midsection of
Torso.
your body or something.
Torso
Torso,
is
yeah.
what it says.
Torso. Oh, well, then
Torso.
by
That's a
that
wide
rule,
range.
by
Yeah.
that rule,
Exactly.
it can
If you
be.
find the remains of a torso, that can be all the way down to
That's like your
Exactly.
waist.
Exactly.
hips.
Yeah, for
Exactly. So
sure.
I mean, I have to look back. I'm thinking that's the wording. Either way, I know the wording is a very large area.
But that's good
And so
though. If we reiterate
yeah.
the wording, then no one cares what happens on the bottom.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So you
I
have
think
to,
as long as you're in like a compressed state, you're at like the bottom of your push up and you're flattened, basically.
You don't have
That's
to be
kind of
flattened.
what you're looking for.
yeah, well, you do
basically.
need full extension of the hips.
Right. but
On
you
the
can-
ground?
That's it.
You can be sealed.
Yeah, you can be sealed. Yeah, you can be sealed right now according to the way the
Okay.
rules are. And
Yeah.
and right now the problem is
Like a
even if
seal?
it's not the way
Sea lion?
well is if your torso touches the ram, your hips are on the ground, you got full extension, right? The problem is even if it doesn't quite look exactly as we want right now, right? Like if there's little bits and problems. Another thing I'm against is changing the rule book before we go to Worlds because people qualified under these standards, right?
Right.
So if there would be a change to be made, then, and this is where it gets tricky, is it almost needs to be changed in 2 weeks after the last qualifier from Mile and Strong. And at the same time, that change would apply to gym events, but not to Worlds. Worlds would still have the old standards because that's where they qualify with. That's all, again, that's out of my
Yeah.
pay grade.
Mhm.
But that's where that becomes tricky. So right now, even if the movements don't look exactly as we want them to, we have to follow what's in the book
Definitely.
and then deal with that afterwards.
Because
So you're
last year,
currently not the rule book. You're the representative and enforcer of the rule book.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if people
Your HR.
disagree, they don't come to you.
No. And that's the thing, right? My decisions are pretty basic. My decisions are going by the book.
Okay.
And it's just when you run into something that's not addressed in the rule book, that's when you're
Right.
gonna have to make a decision.
And I'm okay with the standards being different than, say, CrossFit or High Rocks. Someone dropped a comment on something I had out there the other day. It's like, oh, this needs to change. And in CrossFit, these would be no reps. Like, that's cool. This is called DEKAFIT. This is not High Rocks, right? There's no like one size fits all standard.
Yeah, and in
That's-
fucking PE, that wouldn't be a pull-up, but CrossFit gets to call it how they want to
Exactly.
call it.
Yes,
Right.
100%. That's the perfect example. And I mean, we
Chest-
got into it with the box overs, right? The box overs where the CrossFitters were all over that. before
Right.
because
It's like they have a million different standards for those type of things, and it causes issues with the step ups, like we saw. Chest and or abdomen. So what Katie Duke was doing, where it was fairly low, that was her
Mhm.
abdomen for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. I according to the rule book, and I mean it's a bit of a you have people in the way, and if you're videoed from far away, so it's tough to tell. But from there, that wasn't my issue with her burpees. My issues with the burpees was the extension at the top.
She was going so fast that I wouldn't have called her on those.
But you're getting old, and the eyes are getting lazy.
My eyes are
you
not
know?
great. I didn't have my
Rich
glasses
isn't doing
on.
those eye exercises. That's what's happening.
Not often. I'm trying.
Yeah, you got to go play some hockey, be a goaltender. Get those eye exercises going. You're ready to run.
I don't know about all that.
There's a
All right,
Canadian
so we're gonna have you.
recommendation.
We're gonna make sure you judging the bike then, Rich.
That's how we make sure the kids have good eyesight. We just throw them in the net.
Your
on
eyes
the-
are
on the
fading.
pond.
Go play some hockey.
That's right. Eh?
I like that.
Yeah.
What else for Dave on the judging stuff?
I'm satisfied.
I guess the only thing you kind of just mentioned it where you're gonna uphold the standards going into Worlds, like what's already been written, because last year we saw that they switched the sleds, for instance, just out of nowhere. We're not going to have an incident where this was okay in every event leading up to it, but now suddenly it's not anymore. That's kind of the way you're going.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think I can have any control on to whether Deka
I get it,
introduces
yeah.
a different brand name of equipment. I think
You're not
I'm
doing
you good there.
partnerships.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just got to enforce what we got. But yeah, I don't believe that. What I believe is whatever is applying in Ocala will apply to Worlds, and that's the way it should be. And
Cool.
the way we go from there. I am very excited because, like Jack said, there's a lot of people fighting for a few spots on the leaderboard there. And I just looked at some of it and I was like, oh, the one thing that I'm excited, like one, I compete, but I'm a huge fan. I'm just excited to see the race too. Like you
And
guys
you
are
have
gonna
the
have a
power
wicked race.
to crush those dreams.
Yeah.
I know. And
Won't be crushing my lunges dreams because Dave's been calling me out for years that I'm the only one who does it right.
Now,
Yeah.
Jack, you've been like grooming this. Now you can start cheating.
Oh, yeah.
Because people aren't going to watch you. So now you're like,
Yeah,
I
you
got the
haven't
faith.
seen our text. I'm like, Dave, look the other
Well,
way.
And now
you all
I'm just
know Jack's got pulled Yancey, right? How do you think I got recommended for this thing?
Double
That's
dipping.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about this? You got a couple minutes to hang out. We're going to talk about the
Yeah,
field.
I'm good. I can talk with her. I'm all right. I actually did work.
Jack, you want to roll at that
I'll bring it
start
up
list
again.
back up?
Yeah.
We're talking to the top seed in terms of all time.
Is this conflict of
here.
interest now? Can
me?
you
No.
commentate on DEKAFIT and judge it?
Yeah. This way I can make myself right.
All right. Well, let's start with high level intel on how someone's going to do in the sport, like former high school QB and basketball player.
Oh yeah,
This
I know a lot
was-
about that.
Let's start there.
I did that just to make sure, he's probably an athlete versus people who I couldn't find anything about. So I'm like, he's gonna get an Heat too. That's
The
what I-
QB1 is this QB1?
QB1. I don't know if it was like high level Florida, but he was in several newspaper articles.
Throw a spear.
All right.
Probably.
There we go.
But yeah, I think on the men's field, like I mentioned, there are 5-6 guys who are probably going to be getting pretty close to right around that 15th mark. I think that you're going to see some people blow up. You're going to see some sloppy form as people try to shave a couple seconds. So keep your eyes open, Dave, myself included.
Yeah. Those top 5, like that's going to be one hell of a battle.
Yeah. Adam Beach is probably, without question, the best runner. He was staying with Riker and like a few of those guys. I think it was Dylan in Fort Wayne, maybe.
Yeah, I saw him firsthand at
yeah.
Fort Wayne. He can haul.
He can run. And then he kind of just faded a little bit, but that's what happens in your first Deka. You're just not ready for that second half of the race. But I see him improving. Connor Bell, James Muscat, both a couple guys who live in Canada. I think James is from the UK originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, James is from the UK. Yeah, it's J Fit, and I expect better out of him too. Like I could see both him and Connor going sub 32.
Yeah. John Howard, just Mr. Consistent. He was 16th at DEKAFIT Worlds last year in the Elite Heat. So top 15 make it. He was right on that border again. He's got all those 4th, 5th, 6th place finishes through the years. So maybe it's time that he finally gets on this podium.
So do you see someone like Adam Beach learning from his first one and pacing maybe a little bit better and then shaving some time off there?
I don't know if he'll necessarily pace better. I think he'll just get better because he kind of went in from a college track background this past year, and he knows his running's fine. And now he just practiced a couple burpees and a few other movements a little better. He'll do fine. I don't think he's necessarily going to hold back. He's got the engine.
15:25 is legit for a 5K in the past year.
Like April, yeah, very recent.
That's great.
Yeah.
He's 32:08 here. Currently the 20th ranked. So yeah, he could see. I mean, he would realistically be in. There are, let's see how many Spanish dudes on here.
Let's
There's
say
5 Spanish
two guys
dudes.
come over.
So we'll say 2 guys because
Let's say Spanish U comes, Alphonse, and
Alphonse will
then
be there, and we'll say let's say Tomash is coming over just because that'd be awesome.
he's ranked in mile also, so he might see
Tomash
some
is?
prize money. But yeah,
I could see him being really good at the mile or strong.
I agree. Very similar to like a Grayson, or he can put out work.
He's jacked and he's like big. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, say we'll take out then 4. We'll bump everybody up 4 spots.
Yeah.
So Adam could be right around 16 right now.
Mm-hmm. Got to run faster if you want to get in.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys will probably come. A lot of the people, all the United States people will come.
As a friend of Jack Bauer, I'm most excited to see what he does. As a fan of the sport, I'm most excited to see Adam Beach's progression.
Mm.
I'm excited to watch both of those things play out on course.
We saw Adam throw down in the 3K series. He's so aggressive on barbed wire and stuff. Like he got, I think, 7th in Palm Beach last year for the 3K series. He took down a few big names and he was competitive. He made the finals in Palmerton as well. So he's made a name for himself in OCR recently as like an up and coming athlete. He's got the running speed after a year in grad school, and I could see he's going to be pretty solid in the future.
Why is there no Bracken on this list? I thought this was the year Bracken did a fit. What happened?
Worst.
Bracken had a stand-up desk earlier today because he's injured again.
Oh,
not
dude,
injured.
Not really. Just dealing with a setback.
He's being smart.
Yeah.
Late 30s.
There you go.
He's wearing too many super shoes that he got hurt.
Almost 40.
Yeah.
Is he wearing the new Pumas?
Oh,
What
are those called? Fastroids?
I don't know, the spaceship looking ones.
Yeah.
You seen those,
Dave
BK?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they looked at the Rebellion Pro and thought that's cute.
I thought those were just going to be a fashion shoe, the Fastroids.
All I know is I'm going to be wearing Dave's recommended shoe of choice. So
Yeah.
those Ultras.
I rock the Ultras.
Ultras Rivera 4s because I actually paid the big bucks this time instead of getting the 3s. They're out with the 4s. I bought the 4s.
How much did you pay?
Like 104.
If you had 104 to spend, Rich Ryan, what are you getting for Deka?
For shoes?
Yep, you have a $104 budget.
Definitely something from last year. I know Jack's up to date on his new stuff with that, but it has to be an old model. What do you think you could get Endorphin Speed 3s for? Probably that much, right? If
Right
you can
around
find them,
there, yeah.
I would just go to Old Faithful, Hyperion Tempo, if they're
Hyperion
still
Tempo.
around. BK knows where to find them online. He'll come up with some links.
In the right shoe advice, though, you wear what feels good.
Deka shoe is
Shut
the least
up.
important
No way.
of
There you go.
all sports, I
There
think.
you go.
You brought
That's not what VJ said.
Barefoot with some grip socks.
In terms
VJ
of
was-
performance enhancing.
Jack has an ally out here today, and I don't like it.
All right, now
So let's
let's
talk about potentially named to watch Ryan Kent.
Oh,
Still a maybe.
texting him.
Still
I'll get an
wavering?
answer
Still
before the
wavering?
podcast is over.
Still a maybe on there.
All right.
But let's talk about the women.
All right.
If Kent shows up late, does he still get in the first wave, or do we got to knock him back?
Yeah, Jack, what are you going to do with that?
He's got to earn his spot. I don't know. No, he's number one seed. I'll put him in there.
I would love if you did, if you just were like, nah, he signed up too late, just to see what he does, see what kind of hissy fit he'll throw.
Actually, don't tell him. I'll say that he's in Heat 2, and then
direct him to Dave.
Up last second.
Yeah.
Dave will instantly regret his position.
Just get his wheels spinning, and I'll come up with like some strong argument. I'll make up some stats and be like, you haven't proven yourself in the past
12
days.
months.
I don't know about this. Yeah.
It says it in the book.
Yeah. Dave, you come over with the rule book. We'll do that.
Because he definitely didn't read that book.
He can
So
read
Alex
it.
Walker, on the women's side, Alex Walker is not.
Alex Walker will not be here anymore.
Oh.
As of like an hour before we recorded. But in place of her, we have Bridget Brown.
Ooh.
And she's bringing a friend who played college soccer and ran like a 125 or so half marathon earlier this year. So
Nice.
We'll see.
It's a good combination.
Lauren Weeks was like a 124 earlier this year, right?
125 is really good.
Yeah. She can move.
Yeah, so and Bridget will tell you that she's not in the shape that she has been.
Yeah. She just gave birth not too earlier this year, right?
I think her youngest is now 8 or 9 months, 9 or 10 maybe.
Okay.
So
in fairness, when has it ever been less than a year since Bridget's given birth? It's
been a while.
That doesn't slow her down. I've raced against Bridget while she's pregnant. It does not slow her down. She just keeps rolling.
Yeah.
I think Bridget, she's like knows how to do this. She's an extreme athlete and is very tough. So if she's like 80% of the way there, she's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh, that'd be great if she could qualify.
And she can burpee. Like you do not want her near you at the end of a race. Yeah.
And this will be her first race with the new standards, which will be fun to see. On the women's end, 15th time right now is 35-34. The women's field has gotten much deeper.
Really, really good this year.
Much deeper.
And that's without Meg and a couple other, you just have more talent in there. We saw with Kat last week, brand new name. Fantastic seeing that, but we've seen several new names in the top 15 leaderboard this year. Yeah, but go ahead.
I said Brooklyn Nichols is one that I think is gonna have a big jump here. She is what I saw out of her in Fort Wayne was unbelievable. Just firsthand seeing her destroy that ultra and just look so smooth throughout the whole thing.
Was she Triple Crown last year, Jack?
She was all 3 18 to 24 age group events, and now she leveled up. She's an elite this year, so she won all 3 of them and ended up doing first place in the ultra in Fort Wayne, as Dave was alluding to. She broke that 320 barrier, which was kind of the can it be done type of mark, and really delivered there. And 36:04 is her PR, but if you look at her miles, she's almost sub 20, 13:06 Deka strong. She can move on those zones, so definitely a name to watch this race and at Worlds.
Yeah,
she
should get in there if 35-30. Yeah,
she's 20th right now with 36:04. There are 4 international athletes or 3 international athletes, and Lauren Weeks ahead of her. I don't know if Lauren plans on doing Deka this year, maybe because there's not a direct conflict.
My guess is because she ended up going and doing an event. I thought it was at Grayson's gym where there were like a bunch of fast people who went there, and she set a Deka mile time. I could see her showing up and trying to sweep the weekend.
She likes to race.
She's got
no problem racing. So
not really a conflict in the calendar at this point.
How many qualifiers you got here
in this race?
Yeah.
Stephanie Hillman, absolutely. She's already in, I believe, because she won Denver. I don't know how fast that time was, but she was 7th at Worlds last year. She has to be back in the mix.
Right.
Her time's down a little bit right now because it was Denver, so it was 36:54, so she's 30th. So, but with a 34:19 PR,
she got 7th last year. Yeah. Do you see
she just gets better and better too?
Yeah, Stephanie can really run. I've always been impressed when I've seen her race. But do you see 4th place, Kimberly Decree? 2 times CrossFit Games athlete on teams. She has finished solo in the top 400 in the world in the CrossFit Open 5 times.
Wow.
So
we'll see. 122 high rocks.
Yeah, that 122. That means there's not a lot of good running there.
That's one. She had one result.
You need that pace.
She might be a strength-based athlete.
It's what you would expect from someone who's that many times done well at the Open. So I'd love to see her do a strong.
Well, we saw this with
Oh,
Taylor
yeah.
Williamson a few years ago, where it was like she's gonna annihilate and it just didn't happen.
I don't think she's taking it super seriously.
I know, I get that,
But still, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't.
that's great.
I just can't see her having the legs to keep up with like a Stephanie on this one. I
Mhm.
mean,
I would say Stephanie, given that she didn't give birth in the past 9 to 10 months, that doesn't really hold Bridget back. That didn't really hold Lauren back. But I still have Stephanie as the favorite right here. Bridget, Brooklyn's really fit right now. It's a tough call. But Bridget
she's
is from
massively upped her
Tampa.
volume.
Yeah. Bridget's from Tampa, right? So this is only a hour and a half, 2 hour drive from
Mhm.
home. So that helps for travel.
I get excited anytime a pro who knows what they're talking about says, watch out for this person. You hear it from Dylan Scott a lot.
Mm.
And then that person generally is a monster. So I'm excited when Bridget says, I've got this friend coming who I think is going to do well.
Yep.
Agreed.
Lexi Hazel, that's her name. So we'll see. But I think we could end up having 3 to 4 names end up making the top 15 in this race. On paper, Bridget should make it if she's, reasonably fit.
But yeah, puts together a good one. Like I said, she's tough, knows how to do it.
Yeah.
I think will probably be more conservative because she's not 100% confident in her fitness, which can be in the benefit, especially in DEKAFIT quite often. It's like being more conservative than you think usually pays off.
Yeah. What would that say 3 or 4 new names move up? So what's 11th or 12th place at the moment? What time would that be?
11th on the women's side?
Yeah.
Is Katie Duke with that 34.54.
Okay. What was that last year? Were you able to find that?
Pull that there.
So 34.54.
Give me a second. Keep talking. Fill space.
I'm just trying to see how much more improved actually with like data where we can compare the 2 years. So sub 35 is probably gonna do what it takes.
What I said was 12th last year.
34.54.
Stephanie was 12th last year at 34.19.
Oh.
34.54.
That might have been including marks that
would be
set
15th. Was
in,
Bethany
in Dallas? So yeah.
You think
because
so?
I think Beth's got like a 34:30 or something like that on that one.
Last year Bethany was 34.54. She was that exact time. It was
34.54, and that was I believe a time she set at Worlds.
Okay.
So that includes times from there. So they were probably a little bit slower.
But it's a lot of the same names ahead, excluding Meg, excluding Chris, Camilla. So it would probably have her falling in a pretty similar place.
Okay. Yeah.
How many men, Jack?
Top of the men?
How many men?
2.
2?
Yeah.
How many that are on the screen right now?
1.
Definitely
Right.
1, baby.
Yeah.
Correct answer.
I was thinking, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Riker, Magida, Dylan, they've made Worlds both of the years. They're locks for this year as well. So that's 3. Who else is going to go 4 for 4 or 3 for 3? Because I could join that list.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
A little
Sort of
self-flagellation
selective.
there.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
I think there's one other one. Can't think of it off the top of my head, but
what do you think flights are to Orlando right now from Denver? What could I get there for? I got to stay on this list that Jack's talking about.
do you want me to? Nah, you didn't finish. No, I'm just kidding. You raced last year.
I was there.
You were there,
On the
but
start line.
your imaginary body part wasn't. So
The Plantaris. I miss it every day.
You could have hopped.
Yeah.
I could have done the one-legged hop.
Would you have beat Jack?
If I hopped
In that
Yeah, without
race,
your Pocahontas.
I went 32.06,
without the Plantaris?
and I broke my kneecap like 5 months before that, so I wasn't exactly in.
Oh, that doesn't add points to your time.
Well, I'm saying we each have an injury, so now we're dealing with it.
Knowing what I know now about the Plantaris and how phony it is, I probably could have kept going, but in the
Rich
moment,
would have.
I think I may have torn my Achilles here. I need to.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down. I'm going to go ahead and sit down.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move
There
on real
goes.
quick. Talk about High Rocks down in Singapore. We had Gabe Heck laying down the work representing Wisconsin. 59.01. Anthony Palo was 63.50 and Phil Snowden was 67.57. Depth not quite there.
That's a
bucket.
major gap time-wise.
So this does add to Gabe's 2 total.
You said Singapore. Was this in the National Stadium again, which is outdoors and crazy?
I believe it was indoor.
Indoors, okay.
With air conditioning.
Because I was like, he's running that time in an outdoor stadium.
Yeah.
Like that would have been really impressive.
Yeah, that stadium had some notoriously slow times last year.
It was crazy. So
But it
last
looked
year,
really cool.
Yeah, totally.
it looked awesome. That's something High Rocks would be like, yeah, whatever.
They prioritize that. That's
Yeah.
important.
That was where they were going to have the Spartan Stadium World Champs, but they ended up not doing it. So would have been cool.
So that adds
been
to
so
Gabe's
rich.
time. What's that?
I said I'd have been so rich. I won like
Cool.
$40,000 Singaporean monies.
COVID money.
Oof.
So that
Bracken,
moves Gabe up.
what's the currency of Singapore?
It's about the same as Bahrain.
No. What's the unit?
Oh, units? Come on, don't try to trap me here. You know I know this.
I don't know.
I'm not, you know what? I'm not even going to give you the time of day, Jack. Rich,
There you go,
continue,
there you
please.
That's a good point. Yeah. I shouldn't question your intelligence.
Thank you.
That moves Gabe Heck up to 26th. I don't know where he was before, but it puts him in good position for that Hong Kong race.
Yeah.
You know, and he has a very good shot of qualifying through Hong Kong, depending on who travels to get there. So we could very well see Gabe at Worlds.
Is that one, the Hong Kong race? Is that a race that you're going to see a bunch of people jump in almost last minute on when they see other people aren't going?
Well, you're going to have to because they only give you that 2-week window. We actually got an email today that they're still doing the same thing, the 2-week window, and the qualifying time from the previous year expires on the window. So, like,
So 2 weeks ahead of the event.
2 weeks ahead of the event.
Yeah, so that's where your time stopped. You can't get bumped out in those 2 weeks.
Now, the weird thing is some of these events are on Sundays and Fridays. So that could get a little tricky there. Where it's like you might actually have an extra week's event or extra day of a mark that could qualify.
Yeah, like isn't Amsterdam Thursday?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Wait, so
I
the
think-
window closes as roll down start? Or that you're locked into there? It locks in the list 2 weeks prior?
Yes. So, like, say your time, like Chicago, I think is this, right? Like, if Chicago they came back for that major, I have not thought about this. I'm speaking it right now, so I don't know how much sense this is going to make. But if, say, you ran your race Chicago the week before the 16th, the 8th, whatever it was. If the qualifying window for the 16th this year would be 2 weeks ahead of that, so your time that was would be more than a year than the actual race itself, will still count.
Okay. But if you did it the next week and it took a week for the roll down to reach the spot that you would have been in, it doesn't matter because your next week hasn't counted for your window.
For simplicity, is it just a 54-week rolling calendar? 2 extra weeks on a 52-week.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. It makes logical sense.
It makes
yes.
sense. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
Cool.
On the women's end, we had Myra McKinley take the win. Irish athlete based out of Singapore, RMR athlete. Big win over there. Hold on, I got to pull this up. And then Claire Chung was 1:14.10. And Jane Erbachcher, 1:16.44. And Myra
Kimmy, was she
1:13.
fourth? Kimmy
Yes.
Isom.
Yes, she was fourth at 1:16.58. And the numbers, I guess, were crazy. Didn't map out the numbers about
Huge number of teams.
Yeah, 1,700 teams or something like that.
1,700
Lord.
Teams
Relays.
or
I thought he said relay.
people participating on. Not
Yeah,
not
probably
1,700.
1,700 people participating in the relay. I think
It's
that's
like
what
a
it was.
It's a lot.
1,700. That'd be like the 4x4 pen relays, 4x1s. A
Yeah.
day long of
Need a
relays.
whole day for relays.
Yeah. So it's good to see things are going well over there.
The relay, I think the relay and the doubles have real potential to become just as popular as far as the elite side as the solos do.
Bracken hates that idea.
Yeah, I know.
Fall
Yeah.
asleep. Yeah.
But the funny
all
thing is,
I'm
all
gonna
he
say
runs is the
is
relays. Why do you hate that idea? That's just what you take part in. This is your
I
goal.
love relays,
Mhm.
but I don't think they come across as well on camera as they do in person. That's my take.
Hmm.
That name me a sport where the relay is every bit as popular as the real sport.
Yeah, I don't think I can tell you it's popular, but I enjoy the
However,
4x100 relay as much as I enjoy the 100 meter.
name something that's more exciting in person to watch in a race than a great relay. I just think there's a disconnect between the arena buzz and what comes through on camera. That's it. Just like your bucket thing is misunderstood by everyone except Rich. My relay hatred is misunderstood by all except me.
But
I
so
love
when we
relays.
watched World Championship though, the relay came across very well and it was very exciting. Like
Yes.
I thought it came across really well. I
But
think
which
they could
one would you
do it.
watch first? If they both popped up at the same time, the World Championship individual or the relays, which one would you click on first?
Okay, I'll answer with a question. Which one would you watch first if they put more money into the relay?
More money into it?
Yeah, for example, the prize money for the relay is greater than the prize money for the solo.
I'd still watch solo first.
You're
Yeah,
gonna get more people who want to do solo, and you'll
But that's
have
me. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
I don't know. I
right.
just say if you're like what was the prize money for the relay last year? Like 25K, something like that. I'm just saying if the relay is an exorbitant sum, people are going to watch that and they're going to gravitate to go towards that. They're always going to pull towards where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, squad. I think we did it. So let's look forward to seeing Jack down there getting no reps by Dave Claxton in Ocala, Florida. That'll be very exciting. Are we seeing this anywhere?
OCR report.
Yeah.
OCR
OCR
doing
report
it?
is doing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna be live.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to commentate at the same time.
You're just gonna do it all.
No.
Sleeves or no
I was
sleeves
like,
in official
that's impressive.
capacity.
Xander, I believe Xander and Luke will be doing the commentating for OCR report.
Cool.
Do you have to wear sleeves at the venue now that you're an official?
Sleeves?
Yeah.
I don't think I own anything with sleeves.
I know.
Will you
it's-
have a-
this
Makes
isn't
it
an issue.
easy.
Are
Makes
you
it
gonna
easy.
have a mustard colored referee outfit like Robert Coble?
I'm not sure what they'll give me. I'm gonna dress in whatever's provided for me for free.
All right.
Nice. All right, squad. Dave, thank you so much for joining us today, and congrats again. We're really looking forward to it. And again, it's the perfect man for the job. You definitely are going to make positive steps. I agree with most of the things you say, but not all of them. So we'll have some trash to talk at some point.
That's as nice as you're gonna get right there.
I thought it was pretty good. I was impressed.
Yeah, that was like
You're
a
welcome.
compliment, basically.
You're welcome.
He's been away from Philly too long.
I know I'm getting soft out here. It's mountain air. All right, squad. We'll talk to you soon.